In this video, we're going to talk about 3 physical limitations that could be holding you back on your serve that you didn't even know about. We're going to show you what those look like, how to test for them, and what they would look like in an actual service motion on a real life player. So let's get to it. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at Tristan's internal shoulder rotation. Okay, internal shoulder rotation is a very important part of the serve because it's a big part of long axis rotation, which is the follow through that your arm does when you're actually in the releasing motion of your serve. So when you're actually following through on your serve, your shoulder is internally rotating, right? So an internal rotation would be like this of your shoulder, okay? External would be like this, internal is like this. So one easy way to test that is to have Tristan turn around, and he's going to do the reach test behind his back. What he's actually going to do though, he's going to make a fist with both hands. He's going to have one hand, we're going to start with the left hand on the bottom, yeah, and that's going to go up, okay, and then the other hand's going to come over the top, and we would check how close his hands are together. Okay, so we check how close his hands are together, right? He's a little less, well, he's about 3 inches, okay? Then we're going to do it the other direction. No, redo that. Redo that. Redo that. Okay. All right, let's check. Do we think it's more than 3 inches? Yeah, it's a little more. It's about 11 inches, okay? So he's about 11 inches on that side. So the real question would be, is Tristan a righty or a lefty? He's a righty, okay? Fun fact. Usually, we're going to have more internal shoulder rotation tightness on our dominant side in tennis because that's the side that we use more, right? Another thing about Tristan, fun fact, right? Violating our HIPAA laws here. Tristan has scoliosis, okay? So that's another thing that affects his serve. However, right now, a big part of it is the internal shoulder rotation, right? It's something that he's worked on, probably still needs to continue to work on, right? We want to get, basically we want to get as close to zero where our hands would be touching as possible. That's going to give us that's going to allow us to explosively release and without having to compensate and do anything weird with our arm, right? It's not, also, that's not something that you're necessarily going to feel. Like, you're not going to think, well, I'm trying to compensate and follow through in a weird way. Your body is just going to do it, okay? So, internal shoulder rotation, that's thing number 1. We'll do the fixes at the end. Number 2 is going to be external shoulder rotation, right? So you have the follow through on the serve, your long axis rotation there, and then you have the external, and that's the internal, right? And then you have the external rotation, which is where you're going back on your serve. So that's part of actually going back into the motion as you're dropping that racket on your serve, okay? So one way to check for external rotation tightness, or just see where we're at, let's actually have you face the camera this time. We'll start with the left arm, so we'll start with the non-dominant arm. You're going to come up, you're going to make a 90-degree angle right here, and a 90 right here, and you're going to bend your hand backwards, okay? So we're going to bend it back. We see, does it either go less than about the angle of our spine? Does it go to about the angle of our spine, or is he getting it past? So on this side, it'd be getting it past. He's also not doing anything weird, right? He's not like tipping himself backward. His elbow's staying in line right here. That way it's just focused on the external shoulder rotation. Okay, let's look at the right side. All right, so right side, actually pretty good. Okay, again, worked a lot on this, right? When we started working together, Tristan, where do you think you're at?
That was like a here.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It was bad.
Maybe on a good day, right? And now we're about there, okay? So that's a big difference, right? Because you're going to compensate. You're going to use more of your lower back. You're going to use your other muscles. Your arm's going to splay out a lot further on the serve, which is a problem that he had, right? Because you're not actually physically able to hit this range of motion that allows you to drop your racket where it needs to be to get the power, okay? It's not like that movie with the boy that breaks his arm and then can throw a ball 1 billion miles an hour. You don't want to have physical deformities that cause extreme arm limitations, okay? So external rotation, that's another big one where most people that I've taught have never checked their external rotation before in their life, and it's one of the biggest things that could be affecting your serve, okay? And for our final thing, it's actually a strength component, and that's going to be the strength of our legs, right? So that's something that's extremely underrated in tennis, because the largest majority of injuries in tennis come from the lower body, then followed by the upper body, and then trailed by the core. But the largest amount of injuries come from the lower body, and it's a very ground up sport. Everything starts with our legs, right? If our legs aren't strong and involved, we're not going to have a very good tennis game, okay? One thing that a surprising amount of people cannot do is they cannot do a single leg squat, okay? Now we're putting Tristan on the spot here. Let's see if Tristan can do a single leg squat.
You want me to go this way or this way?
Let's go forward. So he goes down, even to there, right? He's going low, right? But even if he just went down to like here, that would be fine, right? He's going down to about vertical, parallel, whatever you want to call it, right? Single leg squat. Let's look at the right leg. So he's a righty.
Balance.
Yeah, balance is a thing. So it'd be great to do it without needing to hold on to something. But even if you did need to hold on to something, that's fine. Okay, it's okay for the knee to bend in a little bit, although we don't want it to be like crazy, especially with this amount of weight. So that would be a coaching cue for that. But if you can't go down, right, and you can't get to at least about flat on your single leg squat, you're at a higher risk for injury, right? You're not getting the power that you need on your return of serve. I mean, on your serve, sorry. Probably not on your return of serve either. So do these 3 tests, check where you're at, right? Because if you're not able to get your external rotation past spine angle, if you are not able to get your hand, if you have a significant difference between your left side and your right side on your internal shoulder rotation, and if you're not even able to do one single leg squat, again, these are simple things that you should be able to do if you're intending to be a high-level tennis athlete who really wants to improve their game. Take a look at all 3 components. So we're looking at the lower body, right? On a serve, he's not actually going to bend that deep, right? It's not that he's literally going to be bending his knees down that deep. It's actually going to be less than that, and it's going to be a more down and up explosive movement. But we still need that power. It's still not that hard to get a single leg squat going, okay? Again, while he's hitting, we're going to watch how is that shoulder externally rotating, what does that look like, and then we're going to look like what does that follow through look like. So what does that release look like as he's coming forward, right? Is he not releasing very much? Is his arm coming around like this? What's that external what's that external and what's that internal shoulder rotation look like? So let's just take a look at a few. And all right, so you guys caught that? Okay. We'll try and slow it down. We'll try and give you an example. But again, these are the 3 issues, 3 of some of the most common issues that we see on the serve that are holding people back, that they don't even realize it. 3 things that people really take for granted, because in tennis, the order is physical, technical, tactical. A lot of times people just want to skip straight to the tactical when forgetting about the technique, right? And even if they work on the technique, you still got to be an athlete. You still got to be physically able to do the sport, right? And do the things that are going to take you to the level that you want to be.